Okay guys, before you watch this video, I'm announcing the Man Clan, Taos, New Mexico, June 25th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're gonna have sweat lodges, Qigong, breath work, dream, purpose, legacy, get you clear on everything you need to do to become alpha, baby. Okay guys, Troy Casey, certified health nut out here on the trail. We're doing a little bit of barefoot, stimulating the metatarsals, and just feeling good. We're working on it, and these things stab you in the toes and stimulate the chi, baby. Stimulate the chi. So, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome back. So, a viewer asks, "Why is gluten bad?" And hey, that's a good question. So let's unpack this, baby. Why is gluten bad? Okay, so grains traditionally have phytic acids on them. Phytic acids are enzyme inhibitors. Enzyme inhibitors are plant proteins to keep the plant alive. So nuts, grains, seeds all have phytic acids on them. So if a bear eats an apple, for example, in the woods, and then it germinates in his gut, and then they poop it out, and it's all germinated. Then it can plant the tree. This is nature's first law, is self-preservation. And so the seed wants to procreate. Now, over long periods of time, human beings realized, hey, let's start growing our own food in our agrarian society, kind of a feudalistic society, which happened about 10,000 years ago in Asia, and then about 4,000 years ago in the Mediterranean. And so we started growing these elements. And when we used to hunt and gather, and remember, you're dealing with nutrient-dense materials that are out in the middle of nature in virgin soil, you get a little bit, herbs, dried herbs. When I take herbs and superfoods, you only need a small amount that nutrifies you and gives you the energy, the frequency, and vibration, the biophotonic light, which is ultimately energy. That's what you're after. And so, yeah, So maybe we used to eat some of this stuff, and especially we used to eat this grains, but we would prepare it properly. And the Italians are really world-renowned for preparing these edible items. And again, I would say that it's not so edible in nature, but over time, we learned how to eat these things. And so the Italians made pizza and pasta. And if you go to Italy today, their gluten isn't as bad because, as we'll get into a little bit later, the glyphosate was not allowed to be sprayed on the wheat over there. My clients go to Italy, eat pizza, ice cream, and pasta, and they lose weight. So there's something to be said about the way the food is grown. There's a lot to be said about the way the food is grown. All right, so backing up, phytic acids are enzyme inhibitors. They're there to protect the plant. And these things, over time, if you're eating large quantities of them, will start affecting the gut lining and creating gut permeability and or what's called leaky gut. But let's get into the history of this grain a little bit more just before we go from wheat to leaky gut. So over time, if people are eating large quantities, and what did the American breadbasket turn into, right? They're monocropping oats, barley, wheat, corn, soy. These became commercial farming techniques utilizing commercial toxic chemicals, herbicides and pesticides and NPK fertilizer, salts, certain minerals. And this created imbalances in the soil. Putting NPK into the soil, that's 3 minerals out of the chemical chart, which has 72 trace elements at the minimum. something like that. There's many more minerals than just NPK. This will create imbalances over time. Also, organic farming is traditionally done with composting and fallowing, rotating the crops, and then of course using manure, and then the earthworms and the gophers, and everybody lives in a harmonic system. Just look up Joel Salatin, Polyface Farms. I did an interview with him. Food is grown in a certain way for optimization, if you want optimization. But if you want optimization for business, then it's grown in a different way, right? And that's what we have today. And we have many of the imbalances that we're seeing from commercial farming are playing out in the human tissues. And so this is prevalent with our health statistics. 70% of the American people are obese or overweight. 1 in 2 will get cancer. Diabetes is at 33% or higher. I checked that statistic many years ago, and I think it's higher now. So this comes down from people eating commercial agriculture and grains and animals that get fed grains. So for example, grass-fed ruminants are supposed to eat grass. And when you feed them grain, how do you fatten up an animal to bring them to market, which they make more money? You feed them grain, you grain finish them. Or you feed them grain from genetically engineered corn and soy, wheat, barley, and oats, and this fatten up an animal. And on top of it, multiple stomach animals, when you feed them grain, it gives them gas. Gas in multiple stomach animals creates acidosis in their blood. If you eat those animals, you're eating a sick animal. Acidosis in their blood, when you eat it, gives you acidosis in your blood. Acidosis in your blood is one of the 3 main factors of cancer. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Right, so really look at reality. So back to why gluten is bad for you. So again, commercial farming comes into this conversation quite a bit. Industrial agriculture, agribusiness. And intertwined with agribusiness, these companies are masquerading as agriculture companies, but really what they are is chemical companies. Look at the history of Monsanto. 1901 started out as a chemical company. They made chemical agents, including Agent Orange and napalm and mustard gas and, well, I'm not sure about the mustard gas, but Agent Orange Monsanto created. So chemical weapons, and war profiteers make a lot of money. And if you're in the business of corporations, they want to get the triple bottom line up. They want to pay people. They want to make money. And so what are you going to do with these materials after a war is over? Vietnam War is over. Well, lo and behold, they put them in the soil. Same thing with NPK fertilizer. This is bomb-making materials. Many people heard the story of Timothy McVeigh and what they used in the Oklahoma City bombing. What was in there? It was fertilizer. So these were bomb-making materials in the World War II. And after that war, they figured out how to put it in the soil. Same thing with the fluoride in the water. They put these contaminants, these waste contaminants, or these profiteering elements, and then they put them in the food supply to make money. You know, I used to think that this was just business, but now I also realize that a lot of these people in big business have the scarcity mindset, and they don't know the general recycling of life eats life, and so they want to depopulate the world and enslave the world. That's how you control the masses. And so you dumb them down, you carbohydrate them up, which contaminates the brain, it makes them fat, makes them sedentary, and then they're easier to control. So back to gluten. Why is gluten bad for you? Stay on point, Troy, stay on point. So why is gluten bad for you? So again, the phytic acids, these things aren't really designed for human consumption. Yeah, a little bit when you soak them and you get the phytic acids off of the plants. Yes, or you're Italians and you prepare the wheat. Again, you soak it, you make it bioavailable. Ooh, I got a little pricker in my foot. Fell out. You'd be surprised. This, once your feet get used to it, it's quite enjoyable walking barefoot on the trails. There's still sharp rocks. So, okay, so phytic acids, you prepare for eating, and, you know, but you don't live on pizza and pasta all the time. You know, you have a heavy rotation diet, got a lot of vegetables in that Mediterranean diet, but the wheat is prepared for consumption. So what happened? 1983, glyphosate was allowed on the market, first as a chelator for farm irrigation equipment. It gets all the, it chelates minerals, so calcium deposits in farm irrigation equipment. So that was number one patent. It's also a desiccant. So it dries out the breadbasket monoculture crops, right? The, what is that? The barley, wheat, these types of things. And then the tractors do not need to work as hard and the plant can bloom. So they use it as a desiccant. And then finally in 1996, when genetically modified organisms came online, they used it as an herbicide for GMO crops. Glyphosate is ubiquitous and it's pervasive, it's everywhere. And the reason they allowed it onto the market as an herbicide is because they say that it takes out the shikemic pathway of pests, herbs, and insects. And therefore, human beings do not have a shikemic pathway. This is the basic science around it. Don't quote me or, you know, tell me I'm wrong in the comments section. Actually, you can do that. You can tell I got it all wrong. But this is the basic elements of it. Read Food Democracy Now's 29-page report, Glyphosate on Your Plate. And that is the most definitive science, 149 scientific citations on that. And Robert Kennedy Jr. is fighting Monsanto and winning. He's won, I think they settled with like $10 billion after he sued him and won the first 4 cases at the tune of like $4 billion. So a big shout out to Robert Kennedy Jr. and Dave Murphy from Food Democracy Now, who wrote 29-page report, Glyphosate on Your Plate. So glyphosate is killing the gut microbiome. Then you add onto it the phytic acids, and then you add onto it not just the phytic acids, but these irritants in the gut over long periods of time creates inflammation that creates gut permeability. Then undigested protein solids get into the body, and then your gut is completely compromised. And so this is why gluten is bad for you. So you've got the glyphosate issue, you got the phytic acid issue, and then you've got the inflammation issue, constantly inflaming the gut. And then you've also got processing it. So pancakes and breakfast is the most important cereal, most important food, most important meal of the day. This is all propaganda that you've been sold since the 20th century to sell breakfast cereals and to sell the breadbasket of America, which is barley, corn, cornflakes, right? Wheaties, right? And this made us sick. What are our results? Our results never lie. 70% of the American people are obese or overweight. 1 in 2 will get cancer. Comorbidity. People aren't dying from fake virus. They're dying from comorbidities and fear porn. All right, I think we've had enough, but that's why glyphosate is bad. It's layered. Go back and listen to it again, okay? God bless you.